Gears of War fan base is passionate would be an understatement. And after what Microsoft showed at E3, Gears 5 hype is in the air. It is so palpable. Here to discuss, I'm joined by IGN's Tina Amini and Bonnie Jean, franchise narrative lead for Gears. Oh yeah, we can clap for that. Bonnie Jean, thanks so much for joining us.
This is awesome to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much. So this is the Coalition's second, real true foray into the Gears universe. And your guys' studio head, Rod Ferguson, has previously said that this time you guys really want to make it your own. But how do you do that considering a decade's worth of franchise in this history? How do you work around that to make it your guys' own?
Well, I think we had a really good foundation with Gears 4 because that was the starting point, trying to set up, Gears of War, the next generation. What happened after the events that we all knew and loved in the original trilogy? So all of those seeds that we planted with Kate and JD and Del and bringing Marcus back and the emergence of this brand new threat to the planet, everything was there for us to then take and decide, well, we have all of these options. How are we going to now develop the story further, make it a more personal story, because now we've set all of the chess pieces on the board. So how are we going to move them forward?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard, speaking to the game kind of generally for Gears 5, we've heard so many gameplay, tech advancements. You guys are doing motion capture in a big way. I've heard that the levels are supposed to be bigger, more open. Yeah. There's an ice skiff now. There's no more reticle bloom. But how do you innovate on the story itself? How has that evolved and advanced?
I think the innovation is really drilling down into the personal story. This is about Kate and her search for truth, because at the end of Gears 4, I mean, spoilers if you haven't played it yet, but at the end there is a big secret that's suddenly revealed. And so Gears 5, we were able to just explore that and really go, on the backdrop of such a huge, dramatic, awesome game that we know as Gears, how do we actually make it very personal and relatable and dramatic? So for us, that was a natural evolution of the story, but also a really good way to do something new.
Yeah, it's always been a very emotional story.
It has.
In the series.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you brought up Kate, because I'm interested more and more. She's becoming this big part of the series, this lead protagonist.
Yeah.
How do you craft her and ensure that she lives up to the legacies from the past? Marcus and Dom.
It comes down to good storytelling, because in Gears 4, we discovered that the story that we were telling was actually Kate's. And so for Gears 5, it made sense to really take the next steps. What happened next? And to go back to Kate's point of view, or to focus on Kate's point of view for the first time, just felt like the natural step that we needed to take. And Kate, being established in Gears 4, she was so interesting and she had the spark and the personality. So now it was really fun to spend so much more time with her and really evolve her character.
Bring that out more.
Yeah.
And actually, I wanted to go back. You were talking about making a personal story, right? How do you make a universe that's Gears, that's so different from our universe, relatable and personal?
Well, I think Gears of War, what I love about it is that the universe is so over the top. It's just crazy, and it's so much, there's monsters that you're fighting. But what the original trilogy has done, and what we've definitely worked to continue and evolve, is grounding it with our characters are believable. They have believable reactions to this crazy world. They have believable performances. So we have, our actors are incredible and they bring a real authenticity and, a depth of performance. They're taking it seriously. So that just kind of grounds the whole story and gets everyone engaged and drawn in.
Yeah. And I believe you guys had a panel as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So today we got to talk about the Gears extended universe, because that's the cool thing about Gears. We have a history of telling the story beyond the game. So we might drop a little nugget or a place name or a war, and then the books and the comics can go and expand on that. And so on our panel today, we talked about Gears of War Ascendance, which is our new book that's coming out that kind of fills in the gaps between Gears 4 and 5. Also talked about the comics, and it was really good to get in front of the fans and just talk about what else is coming for the stories that they love in this universe that they adore.
How do you balance, building the canon outside of just the games and kind of paying respect to the fact that there's so many fans that enjoy that extra bit, but not alienating the fans that only play the game? How do you balance that?
I think that's a really good question, first of all. But it's about different fans want different things. And so we do have a lot of players who just love the story that's in the game. But then we make sure we don't contradict what's come in the game so that the novels and the comics are just, for the people who want it, it's there, but you're not going to be penalized if you haven't read the books. You're still going to get the core of that story in the game.
Yeah.
And back to Rod Ferguson, just because he's
Yes.
been talking about the game quite a
Yes.
bit lately, unsurprisingly. He also mentioned that this is the biggest campaign in the series, so that
Yes.
especially extends the universe. Is there like roughly like how long or what that distinction might be from other games that we're familiar with?
Well, I can't really talk about the campaign length, or else I might get in trouble. But I think it's just that this game takes the right amount of time to really get into Kate's story and her search for this truth. So it's not cut off. We have time to really explore this and go through it with the characters, and so I think fans will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys dropped a lot of hints about Queen Mira, and or can we talk about her character? Is she making a return?
No, we can't talk about her character.
No, she doesn't return. I was like, oh my gosh, we got an answer to that?
Confirmation.
No, I would love to talk about it, but I can't. But thank you for asking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there was a big reveal at the end of Gears 4, and at Gears 5, there's been a lot of teasing about just maybe references to her more than anything, and how she might impact 5 regardless.
Well, and that is the driving force, getting our action going, is because of Kate's necklace, because of the locust symbol that's on the back of it, because it came from her grandmother. Like the locust, that mystery is what's driving Kate's search for the truth.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm curious about how you balance those subtle cues too, because I think there was some confusion for some players at the end of Gears 4. Like, what was that necklace? What
Right.
does that mean? How do you narratively, without getting into overly explanatory territory, how do you get that information across to your players?
I think it's about reinforcing the information. So I believe in the E3 trailer from 2018, we actually said, this is the locust symbol. So for people who weren't really familiar with it, they could start to catch up. And we reinforce the message without hitting you over the head at every opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely a fine balance.
Yes.
So real quickly, at E3, you guys announced the Terminator Dark Fate partnership. How did that come about?
Oh my gosh, that's another thing I can't really talk about.
Secrets are fun.
Sorry. Secrets. We'll find out.
Well, thank you so much, Bonnie, for stopping by. Gears 5 is out this September 10th for Xbox One and PC, and you can bet IGN will have lots more coverage of it. Until then, there's tons more Comic-Con still to come after this short break. IGN Live will return shortly. Thank you so much.